Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your 10-minute morning send off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So, today we're going to talk about how to invite good fortune when you feel vulnerable. When you feel vulnerable. So if you are among those who are arriving early or, Facebook Live stream is working in your favor technology wise, I always like to give people who are getting here early a chance to sort of settle in with a question to contemplate while others find their way here. And so what I'd like you to think about is in what area of life do you feel vulnerable? Sometimes one might feel vulnerable in relationships or a relationship, or you might feel vulnerable with money, or you might feel vulnerable around your job, or you might feel vulnerable just living in your own skin, your body. You might feel vulnerable when you go out in the world, just being out and about. You might feel vulnerable at home in some way. So whatever your area of life where you feel vulnerable is, just allow yourself to let that be here and be willing to receive whatever it is that today's card and reading has to offer as a way to begin soothing and inviting good fortune around that. All right. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I am passionate about teaching people how to receive. Because one of the things that I've learned over 25 years of coaching, if I were to boil it all down into what it is that has people get stuck in their manifestation efforts, no matter how you pursue them, is that most people truly do not know how to receive. We know how to work hard, pursue, hunt, strategize, figure out, problem solve. And because that's all we know how to do, as we wish to, welcome into our lives these fulfilling experiences, we don't know how to do anything else. And so when it's not happening, when you're still waiting for what I call your long overdue rewards, because you figure, at some point I have to arrive, and it never comes and it never comes, and you're still pursuing it. And even if you receive it, it doesn't last, so you keep pursuing it more. It's because you don't know how to receive. And so that's what we do here is we learn about receiving, how simple it is, how natural it is, that it tends to be what I think of as a forgotten paradigm or a lost art. And very simply, as you realize that a lot of struggle is learned, some of it is natural, but most of it is learned from this over-reliance on what I call the doing model of power. As you unlearn it, what's left is being. So we know how to do. Most of us don't know how to be. I mean, truly just be. And as you be, receiving happens. And the abundance of life reveals itself because being is receiving. And so that's what we do here. And so what I do is every day I pull a card from the brand new Receive card deck that I am developing. And I let that inspire a message for you. And right now we're doing a series on inviting good fortune. So today we are going to be focusing on how to invite good fortune when you feel vulnerable. And the card that I pulled today is Receive Reassurance. Receive Reassurance. So I'm not going to read the whole card. I have a whole video that I've already done on that, which I will include in the links above or below. Just look for that when this wraps up. But I am going to highlight a particular section, an excerpt from this card. And so that's going to let me unpack it and offer some more information about how to receive reassurance, especially when the person or a person that you like to receive it from either isn't around or doesn't exist. Okay, so here we go. Just sit back and let these words wash over you. And if you like, I always encourage people to close their eyes because that way you can really let the words in deeper. Sometimes looking at an image or looking at me talking or reading could be distracting. So just close your eyes and let these words wash over you. Many times that special person from whom you most want the reassurance either isn't available or doesn't exist. So how do you meet this sacred need for reassurance? You practice receiving your vulnerability. In other words, as you become aware of each feeling, you take a breath and you let it be here with compassion. You let your insecurity be here and you breathe. You let your fear be here and you breathe. You let the anxiety be here and breathe. You let it all be here with gentleness. Your opportunity is to know more deeply that while there are no guarantees in life that will allow you to feel in control, the one constant in your life is you. You have all of the power in the universe to show up for yourself. You have the power to become the safest place in the world for you. So with each rise and receive, I always offer a willingness mantra because willingness activates the power of invitation. And invitation is the essence of receiving. You invite and you receive. It's the being model. The doing model is about intention. It's the hunter, okay? But the receiving is the tree who receives all day long. So here's your willingness mantra for the day. If you are feeling vulnerable, if you would like reassurance, practice letting it be here, breathing into it, and then use this affirmation anytime you think of it. Here we go. I am willing to receive comforting reassurance in expected and unexpected ways. I am willing to receive comforting reassurance in expected and unexpected ways. So, with that, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about what it means to show up for yourself. To show up for yourself. Because one of the things that happens when we feel vulnerable is one of two things. Either we know we feel vulnerable and we want reassurance from somebody in our lives, or we feel vulnerable. We might not even be aware of it, but we're feeling fear or anxiety. Something is making us feel, ungrounded and unstable. And so what we'll do is we will pop up. Hold on a second. Nothing like being live, right? We will pop up into our minds and try to fix the source of our vulnerability. So again, back to the beginning. If you're feeling vulnerable around money, around relationship, around being out in the world, about being home, whatever it is, we tend to fix the problem so that we won't feel vulnerable. Okay. But actually what that does when you fix the problem is it's a form of self-abandonment. It's a form of self-abandonment, which is the opposite of showing up for yourself. You want somebody else to show up for you. That's what we want in another person around reassurance, while our consciousness creates our reality. So when you start to show up for you, you start to embody the consciousness of someone shows up for me. There's somebody here for me. Me, you were there for you. And then your consciousness can draw that into your life in expected and unexpected ways. So let's talk a little bit more about showing up for yourself. A great place to start is to start to explore the ways you don't show up for yourself. In other words, the ways that you abandon yourself. I know for myself, there was a chapter of life where I was really struggling with a fear of abandonment and abandonment issues, and I was working on that a lot. And it took a while before the awareness came in that actually that was a reflection of this internalized abandonment, this self-abandonment that I had learned. Okay, so I want to talk about how we abandon ourselves because a lot of times we don't even realize we're doing it. So one way that we abandon ourselves is when we make other people's needs and wants more important than our own. So instead of checking in with yourself, you abandon yourself and you make it all about the other person's needs and wants. All right. Another way that we abandon ourselves is we make other people's approval more important than our own. Do I approve of this? Do I approve of what's happening here? Do I like this? And that completely vanishes because the other person's approval is more important. Again, these are ways of learned struggle. Okay. And we also abandon ourselves when we try to fix our feelings instead of nurture our feelings. Again, when we go up into our heads and we try to fix our feelings and solve the problem that we think is causing our vulnerability, the deeper message that your whole being is getting is your feelings don't matter. Let's focus on this. Okay, so it's a way of dismissing your feelings. And it's also a way of dismissing our feelings because what we're trying to do by fixing it is we're trying to make the feelings go away. Go away. There's no room for you. I'm not interested in your feelings. I just want you to go away. I'm going to fix it so that you'll just go away. Another form of self-abandonment. Okay, so that's how you don't show up for yourself. And there's many other ways that we can explore, but those are a couple to kind of percolate on. Now, what does it mean to show up for yourself? Let's put the light on that. So one way is to be willing to simply be with yourself. Be with yourself. One of the most defining moments in my journey of healing from an eating disorder ages ago was when I realized that one of the reasons I was always stuffing food when I wasn't hungry was because I was avoiding a feeling that I didn't even know. I didn't even know I had a feeling, let alone that I was avoiding it. Okay. But when I was eating, I was checked out. So as I evolved, I decided, you know what? I'm going to just let the eating rest. I'm going to experiment with letting that rest whenever I want to. And I'm going to practice getting to know this person. Her name is Sonia. And I'm just going to be with her. And I'm going to see what that's like. I'm going to see what this is a new person. I've never really spent time with her because I was spending all this time abandoning myself. All of my energy went into self-abandonment. So simply being with yourself is one way. Okay. And that means no distractions, no computer, no social media, no phone, no books, really being with yourself. Like just be curious. Just be curious. Like, what would that be like? Okay, so that's one way. Another way is that as you are being with yourself, as you are aware that you have a relationship with you, you're showing up for yourself, is to practice shifting from judgment to kind curiosity. So the things that you would normally judge about yourself when you hear that negative self-talk, that inner critic, see if you can just gently say, you know what? I'm going to let the self-judgment and the inner critic just kind of, go off to the side here. And I'm just going to practice bringing kind curiosity as I get to know myself, as I just be with myself. That's showing up for you. That's being curious about who this person is. And finally, a great way to show up for yourself is when you are feeling vulnerable, instead of the fixing and the abandoning, ask instead, what do you need? Just ask that of yourself. What do you need? And listen. Listen. You don't have to know how to meet the need. Just what's the answer? And give yourself kind curiosity and permission to let that answer arise. As you become willing to hear what the need is, then you can open up space to see what are some ways that maybe I can get this need met. Even if you have no idea, willingness will invite that, because now you're showing up for yourself and it can show up in expected and unexpected ways. So a great response to that when you ask what's the need, whether you get an answer or not, is to simply keep inviting it. So this is back to our mantra for today. I am willing to receive comforting reassurance in expected and unexpected ways. All right. So how does this invite good fortune? What is the connection between good fortune and showing up for yourself and receiving reassurance from yourself? Well, when you start to really receive your vulnerability instead of reject your vulnerability, avoid your vulnerability, fix your vulnerability, distract yourself, all the things we do, when you receive the vulnerability, then that inner battle around trying to make it go away rests. And it opens up a space, this invitation for the kindness of life to show up for you. Because as you show up for you, life can show up for you. Your consciousness creates your reality. So I hope this is helpful. And if it was, please like, please share, please subscribe if you're on YouTube. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And I have a brand new resource, a brand new thing that's going to be coming online in November. It's a brand new class, and it's called Start Receiving Now. It's a 30-day program. I can't wait to share more about it. But the heart and soul of it is, as you show up for you, life shows up for you. So it's 30 days of showing up for yourself and learning how to start receiving right now. So stay tuned. I'll include more information as that comes online. Meanwhile, if you like this and you'd like to get your own Receive card deck, go to receivecarddeck.com, put in your name and email, and I'll let you know when they're available. And beyond that, just keep showing up for Rise and Receives. I love being of support in any way that I can around receiving your fulfillment by unlearning struggle. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.